kidding, but it's Jerry Hawkins from Coaster Force.
Can you please start center?
Come on down, Jerry.
Yay!
Jerry has ridden 1,028 coasters. That's right, I said 1,000 and I meant it this time. But a fun fact, he doesn't ride kiddie coasters, so he doesn't get those kiddie creds like some of you. You know who you are. Next up, we've got Sean Flaherty. Sean's ridden 1,049 coasters. His fun fact is not only is he a lefty, but he's been a vegetarian for longer than Taylor Bivey's been alive. Next up, we've got Taylor Bivey of Coaster Studios. Taylor's ridden 742 coasters in his young life. That's crazy. And his fun fact is he cannot roll his R's, but he has said he's not planning to demonstrate that to you today. So you're going to have to take our word for it. Next up, we've got Chris Brunel from Airtarn Thrills. Chris has run 440 coasters. Don't be cool if that doesn't. 441. Excellent. Don't let that fool you though. He's still a pro. Next up, we've got my man, Dan Lavelle from Orlando, Florida, part of Midway Mayhem. Dan's at a whopping 503 coasters. And his fun fact, he's a high climb and rescue certified for tall tower attractions. Dan knows his stuff. Next up, we've got Marcus Johnson from East Coaster General. Come on down. I think that's a typo. That's a typo. Is that a typo? Is this part of the prank? Am I supposed to be in on the prank? From Coaster Force also. Sorry for the confusion. I think I was pranked. Excellent. Marcus's count is 389. Is that correct? Am I being pranked more? Okay, good. Marcus's fun fact is that, Son of the Beast really wasn't that bad. Next up, we've got Logan Joyner from Girls United. I don't have Logan's coaster count, but he was a coaster kid, and now he's a thrill seeking teen. Come on down, Logan. $560 something, but he's humble about it. Next up, we've got John Mike from Ohio Valley Coasters. He's got 233, but we appreciate John Mike. He's a loyal Kingdom contributor out here. We appreciate him for visiting all the time, frequently, whenever you can. His fun fact is, he has two first names. Just saying. And then we've got a virtual panelist here with us today, Jordan Middleton out of the United Kingdom, part of Cupcakes and Coasters. Her count is 1,065. That is a lot. She's completed every operating coaster in the UK twice. Wow. So we've got some answers from her that will be playing via audio, so listen up whenever. We've got some questions to ask these panelists. All right? Questions you submitted, the things that you are dying to know. But before we do that, I'm actually going to allow everybody, I know I introduced them, but I want to give all of our friends up here an opportunity to introduce themselves and say anything else or anything they would like to maybe correct in case they did get pumped and gave out the wrong information. We'll actually start, let's start this side with Marcus. We'll have everybody come up, introduce themselves, and say hello.
Hey everybody. I'm Marcus Johnson. I'm on represent Coaster Force. We have a huge team, me and Jerry obviously, but we have about 15 other people that do this with us, so we're sort of representing everybody. I also do a podcast, The Drunk Riders, because we're silly.
No big deal. It's not very well known.
Nobody knows who it is. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Don't even look it up. Excellent. Thank you, Marcus. Come on up, John Mike. Get up here.
Hello everybody, my name is John Mike. It's very awesome to see all of you, and of course I am a part of Ohio Valley Coasters. It is an honor to be able to be here alongside everybody up here. And I can't think of anything that you said incorrectly about the song.
Thank God.
So that's good.
You know, sometimes I roll through the coffee drive-thru and John Mike serves me a delicious latte. It's fabulous. He's a very good barista if you didn't know. Step on up, step on up.
All right, I'm Jerry, and I guess maybe most of you know me as East Coaster General. So now you know the name that goes with East Coaster General. And I've been doing this about as long as anybody here, so I'm the old man, and I don't mind you calling me that if you can't remember my name. So.
Thank you, thank you. All right, Dan, take it away.
What is up, Midway Mayhem fans? This is Dan. I just want to say, cannot thank all of you guys enough for being out here. It means a lot to me and the rest of the panels. So thank you, everybody, for being here for this. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Come on up, Sean.
How's everybody doing? I'm Sean Flaherty from Sean Flaherty. So this is going to be awesome. I've been editing videos since I was 12. I started on tape. So this is kind of my deal now. So enjoy the day.
Thank you. You may not know this guy. Do I need to introduce him again? Did we forget his name already? Listen, we discussed this. He's not supposed to demonstrate because he can't. That's the whole point.
Hey, my name's Taylor. I run a site called Coaster Studios. I'm 22 years old. I'm a cinema major, and so I like to travel the world filming roller coasters because the only thing I like more than theme parks is being behind the camera and being able to capture those cool angles. So I love traveling around, and I love the people here at Kentucky Kingdom, and I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Logan from Coaster Games. But I don't know. I did not imagine this many people to be here, but yeah, I'm Logan Joyner. I'm 15, and you know, I've only been into riding roller coasters for about 6 years, and people always ask me why my coaster count is over like 500, and I'm always like, I don't know, just be grateful for the people who bring you to all these places. That's all I gotta say.
Last but not least.
You made me follow Taylor and Logan. Thanks. What's up, Coaster fans? This is Chris from Maritime Thrills. I've been an enthusiast since 2000. I'm 32 years old, and I have been on YouTube since 2018. And I cannot believe that I'm like up here with all these people. I never thought it would be like this, but I'm happy to be here. So thank you guys for coming.
Getting to the good stuff. You guys aren't ready for what we got in store here. These are the questions you asked. You want to know? We're going to get the answers for you. All right, our first question. When was the first time you visited Kentucky Kingdom, and how has it changed since then? I'm going to let most of the panel answer this question, mostly because I'm curious. But, oh, John Mike is dying. Come on up, buddy.
All right, so my first visit to Kentucky Kingdom was 1997, the opening year of Chang, and I remember just how bright and vibrant the park was, and how lively it was. And then, of course, you know, some things took place over the course of years, but needless to say, you know, it is amazing to be able to see the park where it is now. It is a night and day difference. It's a testament to the team that is here at Kentucky Kingdom that has been responsible for the operations and restoring this park back to its glory. And so it is just, you know, and then to be able to have the opportunity that I have today to be on the panel with all of the awesome people behind me is just an absolute honor. I'm at a place that played a tremendous part in not only my childhood, but also helping to be able to raise me as well, as far as just breaking my shell and helping me to be able to talk to people, and be able to build relationships as well. So it is just awesome to see this park transform over the years since 1997 all the way to right now, 2020.
Wait, John, I got one more question for you. Thinking that was a beautiful answer. What has
All
been
right,
your
what's your
favorite?
question?
What has been your favorite addition since that 1997? What were
Yeah.
you, 3? You remember that?
I was 6.
Okay, got it. Totally different, my bad. Go
I'm the
ahead.
same age
What's
as
your
Thunder
favorite
Run.
addition? Perfect. What is your favorite addition since '97?
Good question. That's a good question. I'll probably have to say T4.
You and me both, brother. Excellent, excellent. All right. Let's hear. What about anybody else have anything they want to add about the things that have changed in Kentucky Kingdom? Okay. Yeah, Taylor.
So, I've only been going to this park for 4 years. My first time was in 2016 at an ACE event called Storm the Kingdom. That was my first interaction with the place. So I haven't seen as many new additions. Definitely not as much as John Mike. But I love learning about this park's history. I did a documentary 2 years ago that you can actually go watch in that building right over there called Save My Park. And thank you. I think the coolest thing to me is being able to see the growth that this park has had throughout the years, how it's changed. I mean, it really is absolutely remarkable. So here's to the next several decades of Kentucky Kingdom and all the new additions that they'll be able to bring from years to come.
Yes. Go ahead.
I don't know what you say about this because I only got here 2 years ago, but I think this park is better than Holiday World.
I would drop the microphone if it wasn't really expensive.
Now I'm supposed to follow up that. So, my first visit was during the Six Flags days. I actually had a chance to ride Superman Tower of Power 1 week before. Oh no! And I was in the exact seat also. But honestly, coming to this park has always been something special to me. I find it even like a home away from home. Just seeing the staff and how nice they are, how clean the park is. And they have a good collection of rides. And I think the best addition that I've been here for was when Storm Chaser opened. I had a chance to do media day for that. And I make a point to come back here as often as I can.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, come on up.
My first visit was, I think, 2007. Me and Jerry, a number of us came, and obviously it was as John Mike described, it was a very vibrant, great place. Words are tough. And the funniest thing actually I remember from that day is that you guys can actually see it still on YouTube. We have an on-ride video of T2. That's going back in the day. And me and Jerry are actually, I hate you all so much. One time.
For those of you in the back, they don't pass out, Marcus. Just for those of you.
One time I passed out on a live stream. One time. So no, we on the Coaster Force YouTube channel, you guys can see it where me and Jerry are actually laughing the whole ride because of we all know T3. It hasn't changed, but it's a phenomenally fun ride, as Jefferson likes to point out all the time. Thank you, Jeff. But yeah, that was my first visit. I loved it here, and I was glad to see it come back.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Kentucky Kingdom has changed quite a lot over the years, I'm sure. Like the Zeppelin, for example, has operated in 3 different spots throughout the park. It just moves around. We do a lot of fun things, and hopefully we'll add a lot more in the future. All right, I got another question that I want to offer up to most of the panel here as well. Tell us about one of your most memorable ride experiences. And I'll go ahead, I'll let Sean kick it off, and then we'll pass it to Logan because we haven't heard from them, and then anybody else after that.
All right, so this one is creepy, okay? So last year, Taylor, Dan, and a few others, we did a tour of Japan. And while we were at Fuji Q Park, we were just getting ready to leave, I think on the second day, and we found this dark ride. And this dark ride we knew nothing about. We waited about 45 minutes for it. The car comes into the station, you sit in the car, and they strap your arms down so you can't move. We're like, what? This wouldn't happen in America, or And there's a reason for that. It's because you go into this dark ride, completely dark, you have headphones, 360-degree sound, and there's people in there that touch you in complete darkness as you're going down there. It really freaked us out. But if you ever go to Fuji-Q, do not miss that ride. I don't remember the name of it, but it was awesome.
I think we're going to add that feature to T4. That sounds great. Excellent. All right, Logan, your most memorable or crazy, wild, memorable ride experience?
So it's definitely not like getting like strapped down or anything, but it's pretty creepy as well. There's this kind of dark ride at Thorpe Park in the UK called Darren Brown's Ghost Train, where if you probably don't know, Darren Brown is like an illusionist kind of. And you know, with like normal thrill rides, you can do like all these kind of like twists and turns. This ride you stand still, but it definitely does better than all the other ones. So yeah, you get in this train and they give you these VR headsets. And in the headsets, the train is completely empty, even though like in real life all the people are still on the train. And like, you know, it just starts off like kind of chill. You're just gliding along the train. And all of a sudden, these memories are like kind of blurry just because I was just in shock the whole time. Like kind of like a monster just like bursts into the train, just kind of like crawls along the floor, just like scaring everybody. So yeah, it just gets like a little bit crazier. But then I think it was like some kind of like evacuation from the train, which is a part of the ride. And then you get off, and keep in mind the train doesn't move at all, even though you can feel all the forces that you're moving, but you don't move. You get out of the train. It's a different color, and it's held by chains this time. And when we got on, it was just a normal train. But so you get on this different train, I think. And you put your VR headset on again. But this time, you see people this time, but it's different people from what you were on before. It's like a pre-recorded one. And all the like same monsters come in, but they're like attacking all the people. The like ceiling bursts and all the people in the VR just fly out of the train. And just the whole thing just like explodes. I think I remember you go into this like fake gift shop. I think it's a part of the ride, but that's basically all I can remember. Did you want to chip in on this, you said?
Yeah, the ending of this ride is absolutely freaky. I'm kind of nervous to spoil it because, frankly, it would probably be better if you have any plans to go to Thorpe Park that you know as little as possible about it. So I'm going to stop right there. I'm so sorry, Logan. Do you have anything else to add? Love you, Logan.
You're a family unit. It's okay.
Okay. So, I'm going to go back to the same trip that Sean and Dan and I were on in Japan. And you guys know Demon Drop at Dorney Park, right? Okay. So, they have the same ride at this park called Himeji Central Park. And they have a unique experience that you can have on this, where you can ride with a bucket of water, which is a little weird. And I'm like, all right, fine. They have 3 sizes: small, medium, and bucket. You know Demon Drop, it drops and it curves out. So if you're holding a bucket, it's gonna end up sideways, like in your face. A bucket of water. So, okay, so I was like, I'll do the small one, and then these guys like, no, you're doing the big one. And so I got peer pressure into doing the big one. It's probably the most scared I've ever been, ever. And so we get up to the top and drops, and it goes everywhere. It was insane. Yeah, we got absolutely drenched. And yeah, oh yeah, they let us ride shirtless, so that was really funny. But yeah, it was awesome. It was great.
What about you, Jerry? Crazy, wild, creepy, I don't know. We've about heard it all at this point. Whatever you got.
Of course, I film everything I do, so excuse me if you've seen them, because chances are you might have. I was talking to Logan about this earlier. There's a thing called a SCAD tower in Denmark. I don't know how many of you have heard of it, but if you're ever in Denmark, you have to find your way to the SCAD tower. It's in a little park called Tivoli Friheden, and basically you're 150 feet up in the air, and they push push you out over a net that's, like I said, 100 feet more below, and they just let you fall. You pull a ripcord and your harness drops, and you're just absolutely free falling through the air, hoping that you land safely in the net below you. But you don't see anything because you're facing up the entire time. So that was probably about the craziest ride at an amusement park I've ever done. So I highly recommend it.
Awesome. That sounds wow. I don't know why I was thinking that. Walk up to the top of Mile High Falls. Man, that was pretty. That was fun. It was a whole mile after all. All right. Anybody else want to add anything about a crazy ride experience? Crazy, wild, pretty fun. Dan, come on up.
I hate to bring it up again, but the Japan trip was really memorable. And
Oh my God, the Japan train.
I know, it was that good. So we went to Fuji-Q and we're doing dough. And that was a ride that was a bucket list for me. I had a chance to do Winter Coaster Solace and Knots when Stan Checkers was actually presenting there. And he gave everybody in attendance a shirt that year that it opened. And I had that shirt all the years that I was waiting to finally go on. It was a bucket list ride for me. And finally getting a chance to do it was something that was highly memorable, but as a group thing, all of us were really excited for that coaster. And I remember us getting in the train, there's 8 seats and 7 of us. And we pull around the turn and we're waiting for the launch, and you hear the da-dun-dun-dun, da-dun-dun-dun, and we start flipping out. All of us on the train are screaming like craziness in a sense, and it was so loud that I can only imagine the people in the station were like, what is wrong with these Americans or something like that. But we also thought that we were going to miss the launch. And when it did happen, it's what, launch time, 3, 2, 1, and then it takes off. And my brain melted. Absolutely love that ride. That's so memorable.
So I was just going to say something maybe about Sky Rush, but I'm going to go a different direction. Bob reminded me about the experience we had a couple months ago. We went to this little park in Green Bay, Wisconsin called Bay Beach. Anyone ever been there? Okay. So there's a coaster there called Zippin' Pippin'. And it looks like this little ride that no big deal, a few hills. And it was a lot of fun, but then you hit that last hill, and then it tries to break your legs off from the rest of your body. It's called the Ejector Death Hill. And if you've never been there, get there. It's worth it. It's only $1 to ride too, so yeah, go see a Packer game, then go to Bay Beach. That's my recommendation.
Excellent. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to the next question. This question's for Taylor. Taylor, can you make a parody of T3?
Have you seen your social media? You literally parody it yourself. I don't need to do anything. You guys are doing all the work for me.
At Jefferson Richardson on Twitter. All right, our next one's for Coaster Force. Your horizon locked POVs are one of the coolest things I've recently seen on coaster vids. Can you explain how you produce them?
Basically because we're not out filming right now too much. There's too much going on at the parks with the current situation with coronavirus. So we don't want to be at the park saying, hey, can we film here? Can we film here? We know you guys got enough going on. So we've had to get a little creative, and thank God for After Effects. Any of you are familiar with that? It's post-production stuff that you can do, and we can take our 360 videos that we filmed over the past few years, and we can level out the cameras, and we can decide where the camera will point. So basically, you might have seen the 360 videos, but you don't realize that you're just watching them again whenever you're watching the Horizon videos, only we're just keeping the camera focused, rather than being able to look all around. So that's why it gives that whole neat effect of the camera moving independent of the train. For those of you who haven't seen it and wonder what we're talking about, in these new videos, the train moves independently of the cameras. So a lot of people think we're flying drones. We're not, okay? There is no drone flying around right over somebody's head on that train, okay? We do not do that, right? It's a stationary camera on the train.
Got it. Very cool. Very cool. All right, Logan. This is a very hard-hitting question. How have you handled the transition from Coaster Kids to Thrills United?
Probably the toughest part about it was the fact that we released it pretty close to the beginning of COVID-19 hitting the US. So, all my friends are like, why aren't you making coaster videos? Why aren't you making coaster videos? We're like, dude, you guys live in Florida. Florida could care less about it. We live in the Midwest. We're screwed. So that's why we had to resort to cliff jumping and stuff, which is still incredibly fun, but everything else just took care of itself. So it wasn't too difficult.
Follow-up question. You want to talk a little bit about what's happening with Coaster Kids now?
So yeah, Coaster Kids was just a YouTube channel about overcoming your fears and stuff, and it is now turned into a non-profit organization, and we just got approved by the IRS, so it is now an official non-profit, so that is all complete. So yeah, that's basically it. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, so Be Brave and Ride On is going to live on, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Excellent. Thank you, Lou. All right, question for Sean. According to some previous videos on your YouTube channel, you visited the Jazzland amusement park before it became Six Flags New Orleans in 2001. I just wanted to ask you if you remember anything about that visit, since it has been 15 years since the park was severely damaged and abandoned because of Hurricane Katrina.
Absolutely, I remember everything about that day. Ironically, the day I had planned to go to Jazzland, there was supposed to be a hurricane that hit, and then it shifted. So there was virtually nobody in that park, and they had an incredibly relaxed photo policy. They made you take your cameras on every single ride, including the Sky Coaster. You don't see that too often, but fantastic park. I'm sad it's closed. I drove by it a few years ago when I was down in New Orleans for work, and it's sad, but maybe it'll come back. But great memories from that place, for sure.
Thank you, Sean. All right, John Mike. As the only panelist with Kentucky Kingdom as their home park, what is your best recommendation for a first-time visitor?
First time visit to Kentucky Kingdom. Let's see. I would say go on and get a ride on T3 first. Just get the nice big red thing out of the way, and then the rest of the day is going to be a lot better for you. I promise. Okay. So go take a ride on the big red thing. Get it out of the way. Scream on the brake run about your thighs. They will not blow up, and then you'll be able to relax and enjoy some of the fantastic other coasters here. I also recommend checking out the craft beer garden for the food. The food is made from scratch, it's fresh, it's hot. You do have to wait a little bit for it, but it is fantastic every single time you go. So, if you're looking for some good food that's not necessarily typical theme park batch food, go to the craft beer garden and give it a try. I highly, highly, highly recommend it.
Thank you, John Mike. I also enjoy taking a nice lunch break at the craft beer garden from time to time. The hand-battered fish is so good. I will say, I want you to know that many of the GPs think that T3 is one, the best coaster in the park, and two, the premier attraction, because when you cross the bridge, you see it sitting behind the wave pool. So if T3 doesn't operate, we get reviews that are best coaster was down, and we're like, oh my god, what happened to Storm Chaser? It's like, no. Very good. All right, Chris, question for you. Do you have an addendum? You got more? Oh, just checking. For Chris, has Outlaw Run moved up in your RMC rankings after your latest rides?
Yeah, so Outlaw Run was famously my least favorite non-Raptor RMC, and I've ridden all of them in the US. So I still think it's kind of rough in the sense where it pushes your lap bar down too much, but I do regret what I said about the layout. The layout is awesome, but it is kind of short. So I guess that's a long answer for no, it hasn't really moved up in my rankings.
Thanks, Chris. I imagine Storm Chaser sits in a good spot, right? All right. Are you just saying that? Oh, okay. All right. Now I want to toss up. We said we had a virtual panelist here with us today. So I'm going to toss out a question, and we're going to hear her answer first from Jordan Middleton and Cupcakes and Coasters. You are tasked with replacing T3 with T4. However, you need to replace it with a somehow worse attraction to have enthusiasts miss T3. What is your plan?
question.
We'll hear from Jordan first, and we'll let some of our other panelists chime in. Give us just a second. We're getting Jordan virtually lined up. It's a long reception, you know, from the UK or whatever. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
T4 should just be T3, but with VR headsets. When you watch T3 while you're riding T3, that's T4. Like that would be awful.
All right, so make it T3, but make it T4, but you're watching T3 while you ride. It's like Inception or something. What else? You've got to turn T3 into T4, but you got to make it worse so that everybody misses T3. What would you do?
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna take.
We've already lined up the funding for what he's saying, so pay close attention.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of the trains. But they're still gonna be inverted, but now you're standing up and you're facing backwards.
Excellent, excellent. Anybody else? What are you going to do to T3?
So, in order to make it worse, I think the best thing we can do is, of course, have it nice. This attraction be nice, bright red, of course. And it's going to be an SBF Visa.
Excellent, excellent.
Just turn off the station brakes, make them go around and around.
Touche.
I think Valair trains would be much smoother.
Logan, don't hold back, buddy.
I mean, you could basically keep the ride, just have it completely retracked by Golden Horse.
Oh! Oh no.
Anybody else? We are taking notes, by the way. T4 is still under construction. All right, excellent. Question for Marcus. What is your favorite ride to beer duo?
I would have to say Millennium Force, Cedar Point, and Yingling for sure.
So you get a nice cold Yingling and several rides on Millennium Force. That's the stuff? What did you say earlier? It's just so good. It just makes sense. It just feels right, you know? Speaking of, if you want to crack a cold one today, we've got Rhine Geist this year in the park. I know that's a Midwest favorite. Make sure you check that out as you head over to lunch and later in the afternoon, but only if you're old enough. Excellent. All right, let's hear another answer from Jordan. Let's see. What coaster/attraction is so close to being good, but just misses the mark? How would you fix it?
I feel like everyone's going to hate on me for this one, and I'm not there to defend myself, so apologies. But Millennium Force at Cedar Point, everyone hyped this coaster up so much, and obviously it's got the height, it's got the speed, but it just doesn't really do anything with it. It just kind of goes around the track, and I rode it the first time, and I remember screaming, "Oh my god, like do something!" I was waiting for something to kick in, and it never really did. And everyone's like, "You rode in the wrong seat." So I think I rode in the front, the back, and the middle, and it just, yeah, it didn't do anything for me, guys. Sorry.
Shots fired. Maybe we should do like that one part in Japan and strap your arms in and have people touch you. I think that would fix it, right? All right, what else? What other attraction is so good but just misses the mark? All right, Marcus got one. Thank you.
So some people may hate on me for this one too, but Sky Rush and Hershey. You're welcome. I unlike some people, I actually have thighs, so my quad being split apart on the airtime isn't a good feeling. I don't know about everybody else. I heard it last week, so don't be judging. Don't be judging.
All right. Is there a reason you were looking at Chris like over and over? Was that intentional? Sorry, I'm just trying to spill the tea. Anybody else? What other rides so close but just misses the mark?
This is hate whoever comes up here time, right? So I'll go along with that. And Golden Oldie that many of you might hold near and dear, but Superman at Six Flags Magic Mountain. I was really expecting a lot from that. You know, it was the biggest, the fastest ever, at the time at least. Like I said, I'm an old man. And it just, I don't know, felt like I was in my dad's car. You know, I got to ride in the front seat this time instead of the back seat, but I was still in my dad's car, just flooring it as fast as my dad could go.
So I'll pick Goliath at Magic Mountain. If it had a steeper drop and a completely different layout, then it would probably be a lot better.
No big deal. That's totally doable. It's completely fixable.
I think mine would be Kingdom, and the reason being is it was built after Dragster, yet it shuffles worse. The harnesses and whatnot, I don't know, I just don't get it. You have this giant ride you have over the shoulders. That's mine. I would say Kingdom.
So this is a ride that is absolutely incredible, except it's a clone, but they messed up on the train. So I'm talking about the giant inverted boomerangs. So I just did Aftershock last week, absolutely incredible. But there's one that is located at Six Flags New England. It's called Goliath, and it is rubbish. They changed out the trains. They went with Premier instead of the standard ones, and it did not help it at all. It made it a lot worse. And so you know it's bad when the boomerang that's next to it is better than the larger boomerang next door.
I'd probably have to say The Incredible Hulk. I never rode the old version. They all say it's way better, and I can 100% see that. And it's honestly kind of sad because like the layout is absolutely incredible. Like I can only imagine riding the original being like actually like smooth. Like I don't know the exact reason it was rough. I heard from somewhere that like the new track was made for like the sit down vest restraints, but they just somehow like switched to the standard ones. Does that sound right at all? Could be completely random, but I don't know. The ride felt ruined.
Is this on?
There it is.
Okay, there we
Get
go.
in there.
Cool. I would have to say Orion. It looks so good on paper. It sounds like a great idea, but you know, when you take a hyper layout and you just stretch it really bad, you know, and the elements are way too high on the ground. Like, not to mention, hi Kyle.
Would you like to rebuttal?
But needless to say, like, I understand why it was the addition that it was. It's just that the only redeeming moment on that ride is the last turn to the brake run. So yeah, sorry.
Don't judge, okay? But I do not understand I-305, okay? It's an interesting ride. Every time I ride it, I see half of the ride because it grays you out. But it's just a strange ride that I've never really kind of understood the hype for. So.
All right, thank you guys. Some hot takes there. Some hot takes. That was the TV sis right there. Let's hear another one. We'll go ahead and get another answer from Jordan. What is the best ride you've seen in terms of operations?
The
Best ride I've seen in terms of operation is the Hagrid motorbike coaster at Universal Island of Adventure. That thing is insane. It runs so many trains, and obviously you have a conveyor belt getting people. Like, how have they managed to come up with a system where they can get the general public to pay attention to the rules so they can board a coaster train on a conveyor belt where you have, I think you must have literally like maximum 10 seconds to get on the thing. Like, the ride ops are literally yelling at you to sit down in order for them to get out. So I mean, that did take a little bit of the magic out of the experience for me a little bit. But yeah, it's absolutely incredible watching them operate that thing.
Excellent. Anybody else? Best ride they've seen in terms of good operations?
Probably Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket at Universal. I mean, like, I've heard of some rides where, like, the train, like, stopped on one of the mid-courses because, like, the train's, like, in front of were moving kind of slow. But I've never had, like, one of those rides, especially since, like, the trains, like, never stop moving. You can just straight up get on. And you know that the trains hold, like, a decent amount of people. I think it's, like, 12 or, like, 16 or something like that. But, yeah, they get you through quick.
Always like super impressed with the Disneyland coasters, Big Thunder Mountain and Incredicoaster. Yeah. Just how they rip like 2 stations, like 8 trains or whatever they have. They just rip them through like crazy. But since it's Disney, like they're on a different standard. If we're not talking about Disney, I would say maybe like Raging Bull and Great America. They're doing like 30-second dispatches, 3 trains, absolute people leader. So it's awesome.
Awesome. Anybody else want to chime in?
Any ride at Europa Park.
That's the key.
And also Kentucky Flyer this morning had incredible operations. They got you on in like 20 seconds.
Any ride Peter Schwab is working on it. Noted.
Yeah, since we were talking about conveyor belts with Jordan and with Rip Ride Rocket, in Grunelund in Sweden, they have a ride. It doesn't have a conveyor belt. It's the Crazy Mouse. All the rides are built right on top of each other because it's just one pier with, I don't know how many coasters, 10 coasters or whatever. It's insane. If you ever get a chance to go there because everything is all piled on top of each other. But the Wild Mouse that runs throughout the whole thing cannot stop for more than 1 minute. 5 trains, none of them can stop for more than 1 minute or it goes into e-brake. And it takes 15 minutes to get the thing running again. So watching that crew work is insane because it's just a Wild Mouse. There's no conveyor belts, there's no nothing, and they get the people on and off of there without the car ever stopping for more than a couple of seconds.
All right. Now we want to talk a little bit about you guys as creators, some of your channels and the things that you guys do. What is the hardest project that you've worked on or something that you're the most proud of on your channel, on your page, or anything to do with being part of the community?
By far the Be Brave and Ride On documentary on Coaster Kids. And honestly, like, obviously it like took forever to make, like trying to find like all the footage like 10 years ago, but also like getting the courage to release it because like at the time only like the people in my family and some of our friends like knew what Coaster Kids was all about. Like I didn't really want to release it, but then my dad was like, you know how many people this will encourage to like actually like get out there and do stuff? I was like, yeah, I guess we can see how it goes, and that just did absolutely incredible. Probably my proudest project I've ever done.
So some of you guys know I've worked with the Orlando Star Flyer, which is the 450-foot tall Star Flyer. That was a major undertaking for me, and it was something that I played very close to the chest in the sense because of the high rescue and high climb certification. I was able to actually climb up to the very top, which is kind of crazy because Orlando in Florida is flat as it is. So you get up to the top and it's peaceful, it's quiet. But there's this area where it kind of overhangs, and I remember standing at the top and I felt like a gargoyle just standing over Orlando and whatnot. But I'd say that's probably one of my favorite things I've ever done with Midway Mayhem, and we have some other exciting stuff that's going to be coming up, hopefully, where I'll get to climb again soon. So.
I'd say the proudest project that I've worked on, I'm thrilled with how it turned out, was the Save My Park documentary. The hardest project I've ever worked on is actually a project that I have not released yet. For the past year, I've been working on a documentary with my favorite roller coaster manufacturing company that I've partnered up to produce a documentary for, and that is Rocky Mountain Construction. And I'm so honored to say that next year there will be an RMC documentary debuting, assuming everything with COVID goes according to plan. But I was up there last week. We did a big shoot. Partners for the project include Coaster Force, Midway Mayhem. We've been working on this for a long time, and Fred Grubb is an incredible man, and everything that that team does. I mean, when you hear some of the things, the backstory behind what goes into creating this company, making it happen. I mean, they went from nothing to now, 10 years later, dominating the industry. It will blow your mind, and I can't wait to share with you guys.
We cannot wait to see it. I know that's from everybody here in the audience. Anybody else want to talk about their hardest project or project they're most proud of? Anything else? Yeah.
Well, this isn't the hardest project, the one I'm most proud of, but under the circumstances, I was up at RMC just to take some photos, do a backstage tour, and so all I had was my camera for taking photos, and I was supposed to be shown around by Fred's daughter, and instead Fred came up and he said he would give me the tour and then I could film him and he would show everybody what Rocky Mount was, and nobody had done that before, and I didn't have any of my equipment with me. So I tried to do it on my little camera, my Instamatic. So if any of you were wondering why that looked the way it did, it's because I didn't know that was what was going to happen.
Thank you. All right, we're coming close to the end, but we got a couple very critical questions. Lightning Runner, Storm Chaser, ready, go. Storm Chaser? Lightning Run? Yeah, okay. All right, that's all right. What? What? Yeah, it's just you, Lightning Run, yeah? Oh, it's the only one, yeah. Yeah, she's very special. She deserves her moment. Last question. In general, do you favor the front row or back row, and why? Yes, Logan, John Mike. I'll just keep rattling off first names.
Back row all the way, because being able to experience all of the whip and the snap and the transitions. I just had the opportunity last night to be able to be at Hollywood Nights and experience Voyage at night and ride the back row of that. And let me tell you something, oh my gosh, that is insane. So the back row on most rides, the same can be said for Storm Chaser as well, when you're going through the trick track double up, followed by the double down, the corked roll, banana roll, egg roll, toilet paper roll, every other roll element on the ride. So, I mean, you know, the back row is like the best row, in my opinion, on all rides, bar none.
Anybody disagree? Or you agree? You want to tell us more about the back row? Are you going to go wild and say the middle?
You know, it really depends on the movement. If there's like a huge like a B&M with there's not too much like whip or anything, you bet I'm going for the front row on that. But honestly, if I'm just in like a super extreme mood with like all my friends, I'm going for the back row. But like if my energy is just really low and I just want to have fun, I'm going for the front just for like all the speed and the wind in my ears, and you know I don't really have an opinion. Kind of boring.
Awesome.
It's wherever the airtime is. Airtime is in the front, airtime is in the back. Which one is better? Some coasters, the airtime in the front is better. Other times, it's obviously in the back. But I'm not giving up that front airtime just to sit in the back.
Okay. Excellent, excellent. We thank our panelists so much for joining us today, and thank you all for submitting your questions. Let's give them a round of applause. If your question didn't get asked, or if you're just dying to know something or what have you, they will be here all day, but please don't harass or bombard them, you know. There are people here too who need to get their ride on, all right? Before we get into meet and greets, I'll give you guys some instructions on that. But just for the rest of the day, next up is our catered lunch coming up here in a little bit. So that's over in the picnic pavilion where we entered this morning. It's a build your own burger. It's gonna be delicious. I can't wait for that. And then after that, we've got our restricted area tours. I want to give you guys a heads up. You received a time slot for when your time slot will be for your restricted area tour of Thunder Run and Storm Chaser. They are optional. You don't have to go, but if you do want to do that, please come at the designated time. We'll meet at Fresh Market over by Storm Chaser and take you to Thunder Run and then Storm Chaser as a group, okay? So please come at your designated time. For COVID reasons, we've got to keep that pretty tight and keep everything moving so everything can be distanced, okay? We've planned it out. It took a lot of strategies, so please follow the instructions. Other than that, if you do not want to participate in the meet and greet, once I get done speaking, you're good to go ahead and exit and go about your day until our catered meal. But if you do want to participate in the meet and greet, please stay seated and we'll call groups up one at a time for a photo op and a quick conversation with one of these guys up here, all right? Thank you guys for coming today, and we're only halfway done with the day, all right?